we're going to have a quick look at how to get low-cost packaging for seasonality. So seasonality is getting packaging you want for Christmas, Easter, Valentine's, Happy Hanukkah, everything. You want the right packaging at the right time of year because people will spend more on it. Like, oh, well, I want the Christmassy one. It's exactly the same chocolate buttons, same packet of dairy buttons in there that you get everywhere. Exactly the same bag. You can buy individual bags and you can throw them in your trolley, but you want the Christmassy one because it's Christmas. But as a small manufacturer, you can't do that. I got to minimum order a couple of thousand of these, and that's not cheap. So if I want a Christmassy one, I got to order a couple of thousand of those. If I want an Easter one, you get the idea. It just becomes too expensive. So how do we get from this to this? Already in a cardboard box, so I can't really change that. Cadbury's a huge company. They give a budget for all sorts, and yet they still don't make Christmassy ones of these. And it's because they know it's not cost effective. There's no point. You could be left with a shed load of these after Christmas. Those are cardboard boxes. They can be recycled, but you only order enough you need for Christmas, and then you set them on the shelf for next Christmas. You still got these. The food's not going to waste. That'll sit on the shelf for a few years. That's got a best before. That's got to be sold. It just goes into a different multi-pack. It'll go into the Valentine's one, the Easter one. It'll just keep pushing them into the new boxes until they're gone. How do we do the same as a small manufacturer? So in there, it's just a little clear plastic bag of biscuits. But there's a few cunning ways of doing it. And you'll see the big companies do it like this. Now, that's a multi-pack bag. As a small manufacturer, I'm not making multi-pack and retail pack. It's not cost effective. I have one pack and that's got to go everywhere. So I could order a couple of thousand of these. So this is the Hillsborough one. But if I want it Christmassy, I can order a little cardboard wrap that just slides over. So literally a piece of cardboard that's glued. And one strip of cardboard versus a box is much cheaper. Simple design, got all the same key information on it. Date and batch code still goes in the normal place. Key information's on the top, but it's just a card slide. That's all they're called, they're slides. The slide over your box. And it's pretty straightforward. It's a low cost way of making them seasonal. So you order a few hundred Christmas ones, a couple of hundred Valentine's ones, whatever the big days are for your product. But you got them in stock and you just put them on the box as you need them. The food's not going to waste. You're just adding in a little extra packaging. And as long as you use card, FSC card, that's sustainable forests, you're not generating more wastage that can't be recycled. Cadbury's do exactly the same thing. They make one multi-pack. At Christmas time, they stick it in the Christmas box. Now, that's over-wrapped. So that's putting your products into different packaging. Another cunning option is a great example here from Tunnocks Tea Cakes. So if you're not familiar with Tunnocks, they make those tasty tea cakes. A whole range of biscuits and bars and so on, snowballs, if you know those. But that's the box that they ship their products in. So that comes in a pile on a pallet. There's no outer box, there's no cardboard on top of that. It's heavy duty cardboard. So they spend a bit more on the packaging. But inside are your Tunnocks tea cakes, and you buy a box of tea cakes. Now, this is actually a leftover from when they were sold individually. It didn't used to be that you bought a box of tea cakes, you bought individuals. You can still see them in some cafes and places. You can go in and you can buy an individual tea cake. But this is actually a retail display box. We know that because there's fold up instructions. So if I pop your man's head out of the box, there we go. So that lid folds down into the back of the box. And you now have a retail display in your kitchen, because that's not weird. Tea cakes. But it's one box, so you spend a bit more to make it heavy duty for logistics, for shipping and handling, but you got one box. That can go into a retailer for food service, it can go into a retailer as a whole box, or you can sell them individually. So that's dual purpose. So there's a couple of things to think about. Where is your product going to sit? The other thing to think about is space. That takes up new space on a shop shelf. So if you look along the lines of a shop, that's a tiny product. It gets dwarfed by this, so you know which one you're going to see first. You're going to see this one, and you'll see some manufacturers fall into the trap of, well, we'll just make bigger packaging. They don't put any more food into it because we sell it by weight, is the old get out clause. It's all measured by weight. It's like cereal. People complain they don't get enough cereal in their boxes because there's a third empty. That's to do with settling. So loose cornflakes are poured into a box, but they're not vibrated to shake them down. They could be. There's no reason why they don't. Other than it breaks them. so it's not good, and it's an additional process you got to put in. Whereas they just put them in the lorries, and then it gets shaken down, and you end up with a big gap in the bag. People complain about crisps all the time. Crisps has to be injected with gas to keep them crispy, so there has to be a space in the bag for it to be inflated with gas. But you get some big bags of crisps, and they're literally less than half the bag has got crisps in it, and it looks rubbish. I have seen cookie boxes which are over 40 centimeters long. So you're talking a long box of cookies. They've got the same amount of biscuit in them as that. Literally the same amount. 200 grams in that one. I think they had 198 grams something in it, in this massive tube. These big, really nice tube, big long lovely picture on it of wildflowers and things. It's great. Massively disappointing, because when I went to look at it, it's quite expensive. It's how do they sell so much biscuit? It's only a little bit more expensive than mine, but how can they sell so much biscuit? And then I realized it's the same weight on it, and food products are sold by weight, not to consumers. Consumers look at it, if it's heavy it feels expensive, but when they look at it on the shelf, you look at that and you look at this and go, if I got that inside there, I'd be gutted. I certainly would never buy them again, but it's a way of getting additional space on the shelf. So something to think about. Your retail box has to be big enough to hold your product, big enough to take up reasonable space on the shelf, or use a retail display box that displays them nicely. Even when they're sold out, you still got a nice box left, waiting to be restocked. So it's a couple of things to think about if you're selling into retail. In e-commerce, it's not such an issue, but for low-cost ways of getting nice seasonality, think about overwraps, card slides that go over the top. Multi-packs, just use your normal wrap, put it inside the multi-pack wrap or multi-pack boxes, and dual-purpose retail and display. A couple of low-cost ways to expand your product range.